Fresh off a top 10 finish at Talladega, Hailie Deegan announces her NASCAR Xfinity Series debut, and Alex Bowman will miss a second straight week due to concussion-like symptoms. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. 2 videos in one day. This is what happens when you miss a full day of work because you're driving across the Gulf of Mexico. Well, not driving through it. You need a boat to do that. But, driving around through the Alabama, Louisiana, all that stuff. We'll talk Hailie Deegan. We also have to talk Alex Bowman in just a moment. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any future content. You may have also noticed this recently, but I've been dabbling with YouTube Shorts, so if you're into that, be sure to check those out as well. Now, let's react to the latest news. We'll get to Hailie Deegan's announcement in just a moment, but just as I was sitting down to hit record, Alex Bowman tweeted this: "With my health continuing to be my #1 priority, I will not return to racing this weekend at the NASCAR Cup Series race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm continuing to make strides in my recovery to make sure I can return to competition at 100%. He goes on to thank everyone for their continued support. Also thanks Noah Gragson for once again driving the 48 this weekend. This is very disappointing news. I hate sounding like a broken record at this point. At least we have confirmed over the past few days that NASCAR has been working on potential solutions, some potential fixes, edits to the next gen car to help with especially the rear impacts that have knocked Kurt Busch and Alex Bowman out of races this year. There's going to be a real world crash test in a few days to collect even more data. So progress is being made slowly but surely. Unfortunately, that doesn't do Alex Bowman a whole lot of good in the here and now. I was also in the media center just a couple days ago at Talladega when Bowman's crew chief, Greg Ives, said that he was confident Bowman would be able to return at the Charlotte Roval. Obviously, Greg Ives is not a doctor. Alex Bowman is choosing to do what is best for his long-term health and safety, so I commend him for that. It's still disappointing though, because this will in fact knock Alex Bowman out of the 2022 Cup Series playoffs. He was already in a deep hole after, Texas, after the wreck there. Missing Talladega put him in a literal must-win scenario for the Roval should he have been able to come back. So the deck was stacked against him already, but it would have been cool to see him come back to Charlotte and at least have a shot, a slim chance at moving on to the round of 8, but health and safety comes first. As we saw with Dale Earnhardt Jr. a few years ago, as we've seen with Kurt Busch the past couple of months, and now Alex Bowman, head injuries are difficult to predict. They could go away quickly, they could linger for weeks, potentially months. So hopefully Alex Bowman is able to return at some point this season, but if not this season, hopefully in time for next season. At this point, I hesitate to make any sort of prediction. So best wishes to Alex Bowman. Good luck to Noah Gragson in the 48 car once again this weekend. Some very disappointing news this evening. Now let's shift gears to a big story that broke earlier this afternoon. Hailie Deegan, NASCAR Truck Series driver, announced on her YouTube channel today that she will be making her NASCAR Xfinity Series debut in 11 days, October 15th at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. She'll be driving the number 07 SS Greenlight Ford, sponsored by Pristine Auction. As far as her racing future beyond Las Vegas, Hailie Deegan had nothing new to report today, said she's still working on her plans for next year. So as for right now, at least, this is looking like a one-off. A chance to dip her toe into the Xfinity Series for the first time ever. It's a pretty good looking car. I'm slightly biased because Pristine Auction are also sponsors of this show. They've been on several episodes. It's a great looking car. Honestly though, I am a little disappointed that we aren't going to get to see, possibly 3 Monster Energy cars on track at the same time, just for the memes. She's driving the 07, the same car that Cole Custer has driven, I think, 5 times this year in the Xfinity Series. He won in this car back at Auto Club at the beginning of the season. I say it's the same car. It's the 07. It's SS Greenlight Racing. Cole Custer's 07 car was supported by Stewart Haas Racing. We don't know for sure who's supporting this entry for Hailie Deegan. I think it's safe to assume Ford is going to give her something at least somewhat competitive, but we don't know that for sure. I think it's a good call having her race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's a 1.5 miles, a pretty standard racetrack that most drivers are comfortable with. I may be a little nervous about it being a late season playoff race, but I think Hailie Deegan will be fine. Remember, she made her Truck Series debut late in the season in 2020 at Kansas. That was the COVID year, so I don't even remember if she got any sort of practice time beforehand, but she did fine. She finished 16th in her truck debut. So I'm sure she'll do okay, but there's a bigger question that I want to ask, and I want you all in the comments to kind of answer for me. I mean, I'll try to answer it myself here over the next few minutes, but I also want to hear what you guys think. The question is, has the Hailie Deegan hype train finally run off the rails? I know the stats aren't everything, but she's run now almost 2 full-time years in the truck series. She's made 44 starts, 0 wins, 0 top 5s. She just got her 3rd top 10. Congrats. But when I was looking at stats earlier today, I realized Hailie Deegan has not led a single lap in those 44 truck starts. Not even one at a super speedway, or one during like a long green flag pit cycle, or maybe just staying out, a varied strategy, taking 2 tires. Not even one. I go back a few years ago to when she won 3 K&N West races over about a year-long stretch. Everyone was talking about Hailie Deegan. She's aggressive, she's got that little bit of selfishness that a successful race car driver needs. She's marketable, she's great on social media, she's great with fans. Has that hype train officially kind of crashed, fallen off the cliff? I want you guys to answer that question for me in the comments below. I'm gonna try and contextualize this a little bit. I'm a Hailie Deegan fan. I want to make that clear first and foremost. I'm rooting for her because I want to see personal drivers who are good with fans. I want to see them succeed. I want big personalities at the top levels of NASCAR winning races because that's fun for me to watch. That's fun for me to talk about. That's also good for the overall growth of stock car racing. And the few times I've gotten to interact with Hailie Deegan, she was one of the first drivers I've had on this show or on my channel. She's always been very positive, outgoing, and very fun to talk to. So I am a Hailie Deegan fan. But the results, or should I say the lack of results the last couple of years, are a little disappointing. I mentioned her truck series stats at a glance, 44 starts, no wins, no top 5s. That's over almost 2 full years. You'd think that with those kinds of numbers, yeah, the hype train would have crashed a long time ago, but the reason I asked the question is because I don't know the answer. I had comments on my video earlier today asking, Eric, are you gonna be watching out for the Hailie Deegan announcement? Her reveal video has been up for an hour. It has 28,000 views already on YouTube, which means it probably has like close to 60,000 views at this point because YouTube is kind of slow at counting that stuff. People are still really interested in what Hailie Deegan is up to. So that's why I'm asking the question, because I can see both sides of it. To me, yeah, the train has run out of steam, at least a little bit. I'm not gonna say it's crashed, it hasn't fallen off the cliff or crashed into the tunnel, but it's losing steam. I'm waiting for Hailie Deegan to do something special. Like I said, she showed us in the K&N West series that she has the confidence, she has the little bit of selfishness you need to be a great race car driver. Then she moved up to ARCA for a full season, and she didn't have any wins. She had 5 top 5s, okay, 21 top 10s, all right. But in the points, she finished 3rd out of the 4 drivers who started every race. The only driver she beat was Drew Dollar. But overall, she did okay. I'd say she probably met expectations in ARCA, so they moved her up to trucks. And the last 2 years in trucks, I've just been waiting on the edge of my seat for her to finally have that moment. A moment like when Matt DiBenedetto wheeled a Burger King racing car to 6th place at Bristol in the Cup Series. That felt like the moment when everyone suddenly turned around and said, who's this Matt DiBenedetto guy? Before long, he was in a playoff caliber Cup ride. Or a moment like when Ross Chastain jumped into that Chip Ganassi Xfinity car for the first time and immediately went out, led laps at Darlington, and crashed with Kevin Harvick while battling for the win. He may have upset Kevin Harvick in that moment, but he turned heads. Everyone said, whoa, this Ross Chastain guy, he'd been pretty good with JD Motorsports in the past, but there might be something there. There's a spark. Or like Carson Hocevar multiple times this year. He's somewhat polarizing. A lot of folks don't like him, spinning out intentionally to bring out the caution more than once. But races like Charlotte this year, or Bristol Dirt, Darlington, where he finished 2nd, or Kansas, recently, where he finished 2nd. He's become the sentimental favorite among Truck Series fans because he's so close. And you can see, there's something there. He's young, he's got grit, he's had several moments this season. So I'm waiting for Hailie Deegan to have one of those. A moment like when Ryan Preece dropped back down to trucks last year at Nashville and won in his first ever Truck Series start, coincidentally in the same equipment Hailie Deegan's driving. Ever since he won that truck race, it feels like everyone's been trying to put him on either Eric Almirola or Kevin Harvick's car. So Hailie Deegan, that's a bad example because Hailie Deegan doesn't have to win. I'm not really disappointed that she hasn't won in trucks yet. I'm disappointed that I haven't seen anything special. And we've had 44 races to watch. She's had 44 races to do something special, and unfortunately, she hasn't. Now, maybe racing Xfinity in a couple weeks, maybe racing Xfinity next year, maybe that'll suit her driving style better. Like Harrison Burton was underwhelming in a KBM truck, couldn't find victory lane, moves up to Xfinity and wins 4 races his first full-time season. I know a lot of Hailie Deegan fans are going to point out that, oh, she gets raced differently because she's a girl, and Hailie Deegan's talked about that in the past, and I don't doubt it. I guarantee you there are plenty of drivers in the truck series that race her differently because they don't want to be beat by the girl. I 100% believe that to be the case, but she has twice as many DNFs this year as she did last year, and I think some of that can be chalked up to just, running 20th in a truck series race. We've seen these guys take each other out multiple times this year racing up front. 20th place, that is a hornet's nest just waiting to burst, so some of it can be chalked up to, yeah, people race her differently, no doubt, but a lot of it can be chalked up to you're in 20th at a truck race at Gateway. Stuff's gonna happen. I believe she needs to have one of these special moments sooner rather than later because contrary to popular belief, I don't believe it's a foregone conclusion that Hailie Deegan will have the funding, will have the sponsorship readily available to just go Cup Series racing one day. I mean, she talked about in her video today, they're still working on her plans for next year and it's October. She's mentioned it before, but I think many sponsors would rather work with her on social media than pay tens of thousands of dollars each week to be on her truck. There's a lot of crossover play there. I went back and found this quote from the very beginning of the year when Hailie Deegan talked about the importance of social media to helping fund her driving career. She said, quote, "I probably wouldn't be in the ride I'm in right now, being able to race in the truck series full time, if it wasn't for me doing social media. Because it is very hard to sell sponsorship on a car when you can't guarantee TV time. It's very hard to guarantee that. Sponsors want to see numbers. They want to see, I put my logo on your car, how much product is it going to sell me? I'm able to give them that with social media." Hailie Deegan's going to race somewhere next year, whether it's trucks again, whether it's Xfinity, maybe part-time, maybe full-time. I'm confident she will race, but many fans just assume that she's destined to go Cup racing one day because she's a Deegan, because she's got that Monster Energy money, and I'm not so sure about that. She definitely has more support than most other drivers who have no top 5s in the truck series would be getting right now, but to assume she's destined to go Cup racing one day regardless of the on-track results, I just don't think that's true. So I'm optimistic for her making her Xfinity debut at Las Vegas in a couple weeks. But I want to ask you guys, has the Hailie Deegan hype train fallen off the rails? Or do you still think there's a spark there? Do you still expect her to do something special, to have one of those moments over the next few months or the next year? Leave your comments down below. Thanks so much for watching this video, y'all. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button once again. And as always, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters as well for going above and beyond to support the channel. I truly appreciate your very generous support. We'll be back again probably tomorrow. Lots of news. I think Colleague is going to confirm Allmendinger to the 16 Cup car tomorrow, but I'll be curious to see who they put maybe in their other cars. Maybe they're one of their Xfinity cars. Maybe they're their Cup cars. We'll have to wait and see. But that's going to do it for today. I will see you all again very, very soon. Take it easy, y'all.